Captain Cassian Andor, Rebel Intelligence.
There's spies everywhere.
Cassian Andor. I need all the heroes I can get.
You son of a bitch! I'm in!
We're so fat and satisfied. 10 men feel like 100. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. A 6-year-old boy.
Hang on!
Hello and welcome to Andor and more. This is Travis Fishburne. Along with me is Low Gray. And
I'm so sorry.
How dare you? Also, this music is way too loud. And this is Alex Brunel as well.
That's me. I'm Alex Brunel.
We're out of sorts because Facebook started the stream too soon.
We're just playing jazz on the internet, man. No, we're not. We are nowhere near that level of talent of good jazz musicians. You ever just walk into a bar and there's a jazz trio playing? Does that ever happen to you in your life?
No, I wish. I wish there was jazz trio or a jizz trio or. But
one time I went to the Blue Room in Burbank, which is in Memento, and there was just a jazz trio playing. It was awesome. All right, divergence over. But I would love to walk into a cantina and see a jizz trio or quartet. I suppose Max Rebo is Max Rebo jizz?
I think so. Yeah.
That's a 3-piece, right?
It is. Yeah, Sice Noodles.
Like in the original version, anyway?
Yeah, it absolutely is. All right, so this is, in case you haven't figured it out, this is a show about Andor, a show on Disney Plus that some people are watching and some people aren't, and I don't understand the people that aren't.
Are there not a lot of people watching this show?
Yeah, it's a thing right now where like there were several stories that came out this week about how this is the lowest rated of all of the live action shows, and I don't understand why.
Does Disney put out their metrics?
I don't know if they publicly. I haven't looked at the actual numbers.
Right,
I might
so
be
this is
really
like
speaking out of my ass right now.
No, but it would probably. But like, there's those people, those firms that do like the third-party research based on like internet conversation and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, like, I kind of get it. Like, the rest of the shows are like candy, and this one is not so much.
No.
This show's a little, you know, I don't know if I want to say thinkier, but just like slower, more plotted, more deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much the most like other TV shows that have been on TV, I think, in the past. Whereas, like, you know, the scale and scope and visual aspect of something like Mandalorian was something wholly new at the time, but now, like, this show, even though it has that scope to it, still it is more like shows that have existed that take place on this planet.
Agreed. And please stand by as I try to fix your camera here.
Oh no,
Alex, I don't know what was going on. You were frozen.
Am I frozen?
And now you're I mean, you're not frozen anymore. You're just, for whatever reason, non-existent. So let me fix this somehow.
Welcome to live media. Oop.
What have I done here?
Well,
yeah.
I didn't mean to, you know, all that stuff. Still standing. This is a great show. I'm still very into this. I really like this episode. I think we're back into that slow build up to something that'll happen 2 episodes from now kind of thing. I do think that if they break that pattern at this point, because it does seem like this episode was another slow plotty kind of episode. I think if they do break that pattern, they would risk losing the audience that is here. Not that we'll stop watching the show. But others may. But I like this episode.
Oh,
Cyril,
yeah, quite a bit.
I still want to punch Cyril in the face so hard.
So
Cassian's kind of an idiot.
is he a character that when you watch, you just like don't enjoy it, or are you?
Oh no, I
okay.
do enjoy it. Yeah, no, I enjoy watching him. I really like his subplot. His mother drives me crazy. I love that we have these little scenes with him and his mother.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love it, but he's just like extremely punchable.
Yeah. We can talk about the scene with him and his mother because they're eating breakfast again, or at least he is. And you were talking to me before the show started how you're lamenting over the fact you didn't get to, voice any of your opinions about Star Wars cereal.
So there's so like this is, and I guess now I'm like connecting this dot that this is like so much like a show that has existed before, like that has some kind of a political espionage show, probably on Showtime. But we get things like space cereal. I love that there's space cereal with blue milk. And I mean, like, that's just like, that's the Star Warsing of it, is you take like blueberry kicks, or berry kicks, which look vaguely spacey, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, they just went like, you can find them on the shelves right now because it's Halloween season. Like it's special Halloween, colored kicks.
Oh, is that actually what it is?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Your tongues can't repel flavor of that magnitude.
That's why you had that set up. And on that, I'll just jump to later in the episode. We have this episode. We also had the debut of, I'm now just saying that Star Wars takes place in some distant part of the same universe that we inhabit. And like the Empire, like we just haven't been found, or we're just deemed like not worth it. Because shaving a haircut apparently exists in Star Wars, because that is how Cassian announced himself to Bix.
Like this?
Yes, exactly like that. So that's funny to me. And also Space Miami. The episode finishes in Space Miami, and we can talk about that later, but and I suppose that that makes enough sense. Like, I'm not like knocking it or anything. I just thought it was funny.
It was. Yeah. It turned into a Michael Mann show from the 80s at the end.
It did, at the very end. He's even like in the like we saw like aliens in beachwear in that scene, which was great. And one of my thoughts was like, Canto Blight could have been more like this. That would have been okay.
It could have been. And speaking of Canto Bite, we're just going to jump around all over the place. But when we go to Mon Mothma's, dinner party.
Oh, what a scene.
Yeah, I love that scene. And a lot of the aliens that are in the background, this is surprising to me how many aliens there were in the background, considering imperial anti, species other than human sentiments. But I guess that doesn't necessarily mean those, species can't live on Coruscant. And of course, Mon Mothma would welcome any and all.
Right.
But there are a lot of aliens in there that you see in Canto Bite. Like, they obviously reused a lot
like
of
the high,
costumes
like
and stuff.
Oh, interesting. See, I would have taken that to mean like that's that part of society. Like those species in that class of those species would appear in those two circles.
I mean, I think both can be true.
I think both can be true. But yeah, I didn't think about the practicality of it. But I'll have to look for that. I didn't notice that when I watched the episode.
We even saw like the same droids. Yeah, I think it was in this episode. We see two of the droids that were the servant droids in Canto Bite.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, they're using resources.
Yeah. We got to see some stormtroopers.
To see some stormtroopers. That was exciting. Clone troopers we also briefly saw. Which were definitely live action clone troopers.
Those were definitely live action.
I don't know if we actually covered that I don't know if that got covered at some other point in Star Wars at this point. I can't remember.
Yeah,
now.
That came up in the episode of Book of Boba Fett where
Right.
Grogu has his flashback, and we're trying to
Right.
figure out if those
But
were
then-
real or not.
But we kind of determined, or you pointed it out, and then I looked at it again and agreed with you. Like that was generated, that was a creation and not a real suit. But was there another time? Was there another instance of a clone, like a real clone suit in Kenobi?
There has to be. I think in the beginning, the scene to open off the whole series, the Order
Right.
66 raid on the Jedi Temple.
I think that was it.
Mhm.
But these looked, these were very unaffected. These were like broad daylight in a location and not like a stage or some kind of, synthetic set.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That was cool. 20 years after Attack of the Clones, we got there.
Finally did it.
So I kind of love all these scenes with the ISB.
Oh,
like
yeah.
these boardroom scenes with all these ISB officers whose names I don't know any of, but
There's
Wolf
one.
Yularen is in this one
Yes.
episode apparently, which I did
Exactly.
not really realize.
He's the image that I picked for the episode. We see his back.
Oh, very good.
He's the guy who comes in, and for people who don't know who Yularen is, he has been in Star Wars since the very beginning. He is the guy wearing white with the white mustache at the meeting on the Death Star with Darth Vader and Tarkin and Mahdi and the whole crew. He doesn't say anything, but he's sitting there.
He's
And,
there.
He is later, retroactively, we go back to the Clone Wars and the Clone Wars
Yeah.
series. He is an admiral that, serves and works directly with Anakin. So it's an interesting thing because he's, portrayed in a heroic fashion in the Clone Wars series. And obviously, when everything switches over, he works up the ranks and he becomes,
He keeps climbing the ladder.
like the head of the FBI, basically. And
Gross. Yeah. So that's a fun nod to more Star Wars, and that's a good fill-in too. We got Palpatine mentioned in these scenes as well. Inching ever closer to the Palpatine cameo.
yeah. And, he says that he had just, spoken to the Emperor yesterday. And I took that literally. And I read, somewhere where somebody was like, Yularen is obviously just full of himself and lying. And I'm like, oh, I never read it that way.
That's interesting.
Because
I can totally see that. Yeah.
Palpatine keeps himself so closed off and secluded from anybody else other than
That's true.
those crazy dignitaries whose names I forgot 3 months ago. But
Oh, the blue guy.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what is that guy's name? I gotta...
One of them is Sim Alu. Sim Alu is one of them. And
Ameda. Masameda.
oh, yeah, you're talking about, yes, Masameda, the Twi'lek guy. But I'm thinking of the other guys in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, those guys.
But yes, Masameda.
They have names.
Yes.
Those weird old dudes.
Yeah.
Right? Weird old dudes?
They are, yeah. There we go. There. Yep. One is Simalu, and the other is nobody else cares about this, but I'm going. All right, dead air. We're moving past it.
We're moving past it. Sorry.
Janus Grijatis. That's the other guy.
Great.
There we go.
We got there, guys.
It would drive me crazy if I wouldn't get to Janus Grijatis. So yeah, we see like more of the ISB stuff. I love the Yularen scene. Yeah, I'm loving it. That's probably, I think, like my favorite like thing that we were focusing on thus far.
Yeah, I agree.
Whenever we cut to scenes and it's an all white background, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be be fun and interesting.
Yeah, like the ISB scenes and the Mon Mothma scenes, and I really like what the design of the show is doing to color wise with like extremely muted tones. Like it's like nearly black and white almost on Coruscant and at the ISB. I really like that. It's like so kind of devoid of personality, and then everywhere else has so much more texture and not like a ton of color, but when we get out in the world, it's not like the world's not green.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like the progression of like I like these threads of like different like a rebellion idea coalescing between different kind of conspirators that are kind of working alongside each other, not necessarily together or even know that they're doing the same thing. I like all that coming together. I think Cassian is an idiot for going back to what's the planet? Remind me of the planet.
Is it Ferrex?
Yeah, Ferrex. He's dumb for going back there. He with as much money as he has, he could have hired someone who doesn't have anything to do with anything and who would not be recognized as an issue, go and try to collect his family on his behalf. He could do that.
Yeah, I don't get what he's doing there, but
I guess paying off Bix, that's noble of him.
Yeah, trying to recruit them, but yeah, they don't want to go and they don't want to have any part of it, and he's just exposing himself to the point where when he's having that one scene that's going on with Marva with his like adopted
Right.
mother, and he's trying to convince her to go, and she's the way that it played out where she was like like, you caught me off guard, I'm not really ready. To me it read like she was buying time in a way that I'm like, oh, she's been compromised and she's gonna sell him out. Like
That's
she's
what
making,
Angela thought too.
yeah, she's making him wait till the next day so that the Empire can get the drop on him. But that did not end up happening. So
Yeah, that didn't happen. That is a little weird. Yeah, but Angela thought the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. What else happened in this episode? Yeah, Cyril gets a job at just the Bureau of Standards.
Yeah. Going over numbers and making sure everything's up to standard.
He's doing space data entry, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean that office looked like Space Severance.
Yeah.
did
I
you
love
watch Severance?
the score. No, I've not watched it yet. It's
Oh,
it's
man,
on
we'll talk
the
about that
it'll
later.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah, yeah.
happening. But
Yeah.
I love the score in this episode, and especially
The
when
score was
we're
pretty good.
yeah, when we're inside, the him getting that job and everything. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. It's very synthy. We're not used to hearing this kind of thing
Yeah.
in Star Wars. One of the shots after Mon Mothma meets with Luthen, and they just show her ship flying over the Coruscant skyline, and the way that the synthy music was playing, like reminded me of like Vangelis's score for Blade Runner.
For sure. I totally agree. Now that you're mentioning that yeah, that's a great way of putting it. The score is by I was just looking at this, Nicholas Britell, who I don't know if I'm familiar with his work. I've seen Moonlight. So there's that. That kind of looks like it though.
Wow.
But I've been having kind of mixed feelings about the score on the show so far. But I did think the music in this episode was generally very good. Again, if I'll go back to Space Miami. I did not love the music in Space Miami.
Oh.
It was a little too on the nose for me.
You didn't like that hard cut where we go from like inside the
The MTV cut.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, I did not like that cut. That cut felt weird to me in Star Wars.
It was jarring. I'm like, ooh, what are we watching right now? Like, because
Yeah,
to me,
is this-
the way it like cut, like the way the music played and what we were seeing before it was fully revealed to us, we
Yeah.
we're just seeing water and creatures flying. I'm like, feels like we're about to see a beach. And then we did.
yeah, yeah. It was like a shot from We Are Your Friends, starring Zac Efron and directed by one of the guys from the Catfish TV show. It's a terrible movie. But yeah, like that beach bro kind of thing. I don't know. It was a weird thing in Star Wars, and I liked the scene. Like I liked the end of the episode. I'm a little confused as to how much time has passed with Cassian on that planet. But
Yeah, because he's taken on a different name again.
right.
And he's with somebody. It's the whole concept of like how much time has passed is an interesting thing. Yeah, in this show and in Star Wars in general. Like, I feel like it's pretty clear in all the movies how much time elapses, except for, to me, Empire Strikes Back is always very weird to me. When
Yeah.
I actually logistically think about the time elapsed in that movie and how it, narratively feels, the flow of the film is like, no, this is just like all like happening like within a few days. But I'm like, no, it's probably weeks.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, the internal timeline of that movie. Yeah, and it is very different from the other two. I mean, yeah, Jedi is a very fast thing too.
Yeah.
And obviously like the first Star Wars is maybe 3 days
Oh,
tops.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's at the end of the episode, he's Keef Gergo,
Keith Kurgo.
which sounds a little bit like Grief Cargo to me, like inverted Grief Cargo. Right? That's
Mando!
That guy.
yeah, that's his name, right?
Yep.
And so yeah,
It's so weird, like how they do that. The Keith Gergo, Grief Karga. We've got Tebow and Tito, Greedo
running at
and
it.
Beto.
I mean, they're trying. They had to name a guy Tim,
Yeah.
Tim something. He had a last name in this episode. What Tim Carlo is his full name.
Tim Carlo.
with a K. I would bet that Tim Carlo is from Space Miami originally.
That would make sense.
Space Miami is actually a planet called Niamos, which I suppose is the first. This is the first appearance of this.
It is.
Yes. Okay. So made up Miami planet. Okay. We get shore troopers. That's kind of cool. I
Yeah.
like seeing those guys. So like Cassian's just trying to go to the store and there's like a
Literally all
dude
he's
being
doing.
chased. And then the shore trooper thinks that he's suspicious. And then he gets detained by a KX unit.
Yeah. Tries to
And
hang him
Tries
with
to
his
hang
hand.
him. Yep. Pins him up against a stone wall. And then at the end of the episode, he gets sentenced to jail for 6 years.
He does. 'Cause he's been a naughty boy.
That is
He was part of this stuff that was going on that was, just a little questionable, but really not. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It ties into what happened at the beginning of the episode with Yularen saying, hey, we're going to up all the we're really like gonna put our boot down and we're gonna like add and make, you know, crime like the punishment's gonna like go up. So
Right.
it's this interesting thing where you know, what he did end up affecting him, even though the crime that he ended up
Right.
being, you know, thrown in jail for, he did not commit.
Right. The narrative irony is very good, and I like it a lot. I am just very interested to see, I mean, how he gets out of it. I mean, that's like a nice way to raise the stakes, but like being in Imperial jail is, you know, is the next, you know, big action set piece, the jailbreak out.
I mean, heists and jailbreaks are kind of the same thing, but
Yeah, they
I'm
are,
equally
right?
excited by both. So whatever happens,
They kind of are the same thing. I mean, I'm here for it. So episode 9, jailbreak, probably. I'm into it. I'm very into the Mon Mothma plot right now too.
Yeah.
I really like that dinner scene. This guy, who's this guy?
The dude friend.
The dude friend, the childhood dude friend. Like there's that one guy in Clone Wars that was that for Padme, and I can't remember his name, but he was Chorus?
Clovis, I believe was that guy's
Clovis.
name. This
God,
guy.
that guy sucked.
Yeah, he is awful. This guy's better than Clovis.
Yeah, this guy is way better than Clovis.
You know, and you know, if I took notes the way I used to, I would have his name, the guy who played him, right in front of
Colma.
me. Tay Colma, that's my boy. Yeah,
Tay Colma.
I like him. The thing that really stood out to me the most in the scene with him, and in this scene, is I really love the costume design of him. And his costume looks very much like a costume that's out of the original trilogy. It looks like something that's in A New Hope or in Empire Strikes Back, something you'd see on Bespin. And even more than that, his costume looks just like Ralph McQuarrie's concept design costume for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You're right. Holy damn. Are you going to throw that up on the stream?
No, because I don't have that ready. And if I were more equipped and ready, I would do that. But everybody look up, you know, Ralph McQuarrie's Obi-Wan, and you'll see he's wearing the same stuff.
You know what, man? You're raising 2 kids. It's understandable. Yeah, look it up, people. If you're here. You know, what was our oh yeah, you mentioned our most popular recent podcast was Predators because Prey came out, and then our most dangerous podcast episode about Predators was big. So if no one's watching Andor,
yeah,
yeah,
put it together.
Hello, internet. Yeah. Oh God, I just searched YouTube for Who Watches Podcast. A different podcast came up first. Boo. Then our podcast comes up, and then the third thing is Joe Rogan on Watch Collectors.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been trying to get us a guest spot on Joe Rogan, so that's what.
Yeah, sure. I'll. No, I don't want to. No.
You wouldn't do it, even, you know. It'd be a huge numbers boost for us.
Yeah, but then you're associating with that fucking guy.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean you condone him. If you want to like be on the show and, you know, spar with him. Is that I've never listened to him, so I don't know how it works.
I haven't either.
To me,
I remember when he used to make people eat bugs.
That's my only association. Whenever somebody says Joe Rogan, my immediate image is like, oh, the guy, the Fear Factor 20 years ago. Like that's Joe Rogan to me.
Yep.
But I know it's that's not the case.
He evolved, or he devolved rather.
If we went on the show and he wanted to like bury us in rats, I'd do it.
So you would go on Joe Rogan if the condition was that he would do a Fear Factor.
We're gonna do a Fear Factor, yeah. Old school.
Okay.
You know, take him back to his roots.
I'm not interested in that, but if you want me to chaperone, I'll do that.
All right, let's see what we can do.
Okay, great. You will have our people call his people. We have people. What else happens in this episode? The blonde lady.
Mm-hmm.
God, I should be writing this stuff down. Um,
There are so many new characters and new names. Her name
there
is
are so
Vel
many.
Sartha.
Vel Sartha.
Yeah.
So her sparring with the guy that doesn't like her, and her, totally kind of
Oh no, different
uncovering.
blonde lady.
Different blonde lady.
Vel Sartha is who played the waif in
Oh.
Game of Thrones and was part of the Cassian.
She's the
Yeah,
right
because
Yeah,
she
yeah,
has
yeah.
a meeting as well in this episode.
Right, and she is then told to go kill Cass.
Yeah, which that
Um,
scene I really like. Well, I love the buildup of that scene and this person
That was cool.
she's meeting with, who we see walking around Coruscant and really giving Coruscant a real world feel, because they actually shot it in the real world.
Yeah.
You see like close-up shots of tiles and all these things. It's like, oh, I feel like I can touch that because
Right.
I can.
And that was the first time we had seen that for Coruscant. It was great. I hope that we get more. I mean, like, I want to branch out and see other planets that we haven't seen before and, new things. But I would love more exploration of Coruscant in a concrete way like this,
Yeah.
just visually.
I love
Dedra
all that
Miro.
stuff.
Dedra
that's her
Miro
name.
is
Mhm.
the person I'm thinking of. Her scene is great, where she totally owns her rival guy, whose name I also don't know.
That I'm not going to be able to pull up, but I do love her, her boss, Major Partagaz, and he's
Yeah.
played by Anton Lesser.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's another Game of Thrones guy. He played this
okay.
real creepy guy in Game of Thrones, and he's really awesome because he feels like, I feel like I've seen this guy in a Terry Gilliam movie, but
Yeah.
I haven't. But he belongs in that world, and I love this character.
I mean, he's kind of in that tradition of British actors, right?
Yeah.
Like those kind of. It's a look. It's a whole thing, a whole history, and it's great
is.
that and like it's part of Star Wars history too, because those were all the bad guys in the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the most part, I think Jedi is not this way, or maybe there's maybe there's one or two American ones.
Yeah, I
the
think
first one.
Jar Jarrod
Yeah.
kind of.
Right.
No, he doesn't speak with an accent, I don't think.
No,
But
he doesn't.
pretty much everybody else does.
Yeah. And then also he's just like an officer, but the officer on the Tantive that Vader has a conversation with.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who's very obviously dubbed.
And I'm gonna pull his name in a second. No, we can't. We have to move
No,
forward.
don't worry about it. We know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like of those great British character actors, a lot of them wound up as bit parts in Star Wars and as these Imperial officers and stuff. And or notably in the case of Peter Cushing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love that that's still going on in Star Wars, and that is something that you get just like shooting it in England, like Star Wars did.
Yeah.
It also helps to retain some of this flavor that just kind of seeped in because of where they were based.
Exactly. And that guy's name was Danger. I just remembered it. So you can't do it because I'm gonna obsess.
Like Danger.
Like Danger. His name, because I'm like, it's like a word. It's Dane and Gier.
But his first name is Dane.
His
like
first
Dane
name is
Cook.
Dane. Like Dane
Okay.
Cook. Yeah. And Gier is spelled J-I-R.
Well, Dane. I knew a Dane. He was mostly nice.
Was it Dane Cook?
No, I don't think I would. I mean, maybe if I knew Dane Cook, I would characterize him as mostly nice. But I've never met or worked with Dane Cook, so I everything is made up that I say about Dane Cook.
Okay.
And that's my word on the subject. I don't know if I do. What else we got in Andor?
We've got the scene where Mon Mothma goes to visit Luthen, and they have the scene where they have to put on a show for her chauffeur,
Right.
where they act like she's buying something again because she's still very secretive about everything that's going on. She's put together Luthen is behind all of the, shit that went down on Aldhani.
Right.
And
Like,
he's like,
did you
"But
start the rebellion without me?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, I did.
Why did you do that? Because someone had to. That's kind of what that scene boils down to.
And we need money.
Yeah. No, but that scene was great. I mean, like, these actors are so good. And like Adam said last week, this dialogue is so rich. Like, it's just wonderful to get to see this play out in this way.
Yeah.
And I still like that the show is taking its time. I am feeling it a little bit more, though, because when we had those first 3 episodes, right, we got to watch those like in quick succession.
Yeah.
And then I was busy and missed the next 2 weeks of episodes. So then when I caught up to do our show last week, I then again watched 3 episodes kind of in quick succession. And now I'm back to the week to week. So I think I actually like am feeling it a little.
Yeah, and those 3 episodes that you watched were kind of like just like in the first 3 were structured in a way that like play out well by watching 3.
Right, like it's a little mini arc. It's a little 3-episode mini arc. And yeah, so I think I'm feeling the withdrawal from that. Although I'm not going to use that as a criticism on the show. I just want to keep watching it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Other things I wanted to speak. I know we've already talked about the shore trooper questioning Cassian, but to me, the way that scene was playing out, it caught me off guard because the tone and the vocal performance of the shore trooper when he approaches him, it seems like he's like messing with him at first. Like he's like, hey, I know, what are you doing? And I thought he was going to be like, you're one of those party people. I don't know what he was setting him up for, but I thought it was going to be like, you go ahead. Like, I thought it was going to be just a false alarm thing. When it actually like turned the way it did, I was surprised.
The whole thing unfolded really, from Cassian just waking up with his Space Miami lover and going and trying to go to the store to being sentenced to 6 years in Imperial prison was very fast, especially in comparison to like the whole rest of the episode where like scenes slowly play out. Like, I don't know how long that scene was, the Mon Mothma party scene, but that was a long scene.
Yeah, it had different aspects of it, of things starting out, and they like go to different rooms.
There was a lot of choreography.
She's really she does not trust her husband at all, and even says so, like he cannot be trusted. Obviously we're heading towards some kind of a confrontation between her and her husband and probably daughter in some way, which is because when both of those characters were revealed, it's like, oh, I never knew that Mon Mothma, had these characters in her life. And that could be just because it was happening off screen and we didn't know it, or it could be because at the point we saw her, that was true.
Yeah, very well could be. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure. But yeah, back to the end of the episode. Just the shift. All of it happened very fast. I feel like that was like 3 minutes total in Space Miami at the very end. And, I'm not saying that there was more scene to happen, but it felt like a very big speed ramp up at the very end of kind of a slower episode. Is Tebow doing some stuff? Not Tebow. Logray?
No. I wish it was low gray.
So yeah, I'm excited for whatever happens this upcoming week
Mm-hmm.
on Andor.
Yeah. No, me as well.
Uh, I'm continuing to really enjoy it, and I don't know if I have much more to say about this episode.
No, I don't think so either.
Oh, Sam Witwer played the Shore Trooper.
He did. Well, that's interesting because I feel like he's good. Like he knows what to do vocally with his performances. So I'm curious what's going on there. That's interesting.
He's apparently uncredited. I'm referencing the Wikipedia article about this episode.
What does it say that the alien species was we saw at first on Space Miami with the very phallic-looking face?
It does not mention.
Okay.
But it does mention that Andor was on his way to the store to buy more Pizos and Revnog. Yep.
I mean, Revnog is important.
There is apparently a holographic ad saying "Tasty Pizos" in Arabesh on a building on Coruscant. And Revnog is alcohol, which makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also want to address when he's being sentenced. There's one of the guy standing behind him in armor and holding, some kind of like a detaining weapon, like a baton of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously an Imperial, because he's wearing like an Imperial, chest armor and costume, is an alien, which I find very interesting.
That is
You're
interesting.
seeing like an alien wearing Imperial armor.
It's probably a transitional time still.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still kind of transitional. But that is interesting. I mean, that's not the first time we've seen that, is it? I feel like that's come up in some media at some point.
I mean, all I can think of is Thrawn right now.
Sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if there's a way to search on Wikipedia for alien Imperial officers.
Yeah, I mean, other than like, there's Thrawn, and then we got, obviously the Grand Inquisitor, but all the Inquisitors don't count for me. I mean, I guess they should. They literally are working for the Empire, but it's kind of its own sect.
Yeah. There's a YouTube video by Star Wars Explained on the topic. Yeah, Thrawn, General Scar, I don't know who that is. Fleet Admiral Krieg, Masameda.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
all right, yeah. Somebody write in. Tell us about the Imperial aliens that you know about.
Hey, who's that guy? Pablo Hidalgo. Hit us up. Let us know.
Give us the real Pablo.
Give us the straight poop.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up. Let me, get better at all this stuff and being set up. So, all right.
You can clean all this up in the released podcast.
It's not going to happen. It used to. It doesn't happen anymore. So we're looking forward to episode 8. And so Alex, in the meantime, where can people find you?
You can go to my website at abrunel.com to learn about the projects I've worked on and hire me to work on one of yours should you want to do that. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Let's work together.
Awesome. And you can find me at Travis Fishburne. Find the show at Who Watches Podcast at gmail.com, at Who Watches Pod on Twitter. We are on Facebook, streaming live every week on YouTube and Twitch, streaming live. If you so choose to watch or listen, please rate, review, subscribe, leave comments. Tell us we're stupid, that I couldn't remember about Dangier and Simalu and all those people. But I don't know. Until next time, everyone just stay all fat and satisfied.
So fat and satisfied.